Back to the revision, a lot of people, I've talked to a number of people, say, well, I'm going to have the revision. Let me see how the revision goes, and then I'll and see if Broadspire does everything they say they're going to. And then after the revision, if I feel like I need a lawyer, then, well, you'll be glad to sign up with you at that time. You have to make the point very firmly that is too late. So we explain the explantation protocol that we have in place. I personally use Robson Forensics. We have the protocol set up. We have the pre-surgical protocol. We have the protocol for obtaining the explanted device. And I explain to the clients, or the prospective clients, it is essential that we get access to the device. It's essential that our experts talk to the doctor ahead of time. They talk to the hospital ahead of time. We send the kit. We explain to them that we want not only the device, but we want the device without it being cleaned. We want the tissue on the device. And our experts call and tell the doctor exactly how they want it. We get the tissue. We can then test the tissue as well as the device. We get it in a box, FedEx, ready to go. All they do is put it in there, send it to us, and then I explain chain of custody and the importance of chain of custody and the fact that we will have it later to do any additional testing we need, but we will have control of it. And then there are always horror stories you can tell them, which are very, very true, about people who have come to us after revision, and all of a sudden we can't find their explanted devices anywhere. Nobody's quite sure what happened to them. And we know what happened to them, but as often as not, Depew claims we didn't get it. We have no idea. So it's important, when they understand the importance of having the device, the most important piece of evidence in the case as far as they're concerned, then that will help us get them out of the hands of Broadspire and into the hands where they can be represented, their best interests can in fact be represented. We also tell them, in order to offset Broadspire's claims of we're going to take care of everything, the real danger, the damages in this case, aside from the biomechanical problems that you have, is when you talk about the future damages in this case, and I'm not going to go into this because we're going to have somebody else talk about damages, but I talked to a client about it only from this viewpoint. The demographic, the target demographic on this product is the active person who's age 40 to 50 years old who needs the metal on metal because they want to remain active, and this is designed to last for 15 years. We're finding most of our failures, we have around at 200 cases right now, and we're finding most of our failures occurred between 2 and 3 years. Almost universally our failures occurred between 2 and 3 years. And so you get someone who's 40 years old and they've had the device and it's supposed to last them for 15 years till they're 55, then they get another one which lasts them till 70. And I can tell you, once you're 70, hell, it doesn't matter anyway, because life's pretty much over. So, but what actually happens, you get it at 40, and then at 43, you find yourself having 2 more procedures. You have an explantation and another implantation. Now you're 43, but what's happened to you? Because the real damage that's occurring here, the real damage that's occurring out of metallosis is this, that we know is occurring out of metallosis is this. It's the damage to the operative field. The chromium cobalt is damaging, it's causing necrotic tissue, it's causing deteriorating bone, and so you're having damage in the immediate operative field. So you go in and you have you have to excise the tissue, and then you have the bone problems. Okay, so now you've had the original hip surgery. I mean, the original hip problem that caused you to get the implant in the first place. Then you've got the implantation. That's it's a big surgery. And it's a major insult to the operative field, to the body. So now you've got the next area of damage, which is the damage that is occurring from the necrosis and from the chromium and cobalt damaging the area. And then you have the next insult to the area, which is the explantation. Then you got the implantation. Now you got all that. That's where you are, and you're only 43 years old, because this thing didn't last 15 years as it was supposed to. Now you've got a greatly weakened area in terms of, regardless of what they put in there, the odds of the next one lasting for 15 years, and Herb could address this much better than I could, but the odds of the next one lasting 15 years are very small, because the field just won't handle it. So you get the next one, even if it lasts for 10 years. Now you're 53 years old, and you've got another failure, and now you got to go through all this again. Another explantation, another implantation. That's where your damage is. And now you get to the next one, and you're 63, and there comes a point, and it's a very individualized situation, but there comes a point where you're no longer a good candidate for surgery to have explantation, implantation of a new device. Who's going to handle that for you? Is Broadspire going to cover that for you? No. You settle with Broadspire on your own. They're not going to be there any longer at all. And so Broadspire, you know, there were big success rates in previous litigation where they did this type of thing, where they had a very large percentage of cases settled without the clients ever getting attorneys. And that's what Broadspire is trying to accomplish here. So it's very important, if we're going to, we owe it to these prospective clients to make sure that they understand that what they're facing in the future, and there's a lot more to this than just having a hip and getting a new hip in place and you're all good to go. We also have a number of cases that involve bilaterals, and when you have this bilateral situation, then the biomechanical difficulties in a bilateral ASR are exponentially increased, simply because for obvious reasons. The other thing, I explained this much to clients to make them feel better about the whole carcinogenic effect of chromium and cobalt. If you've looked on the internet, you just think that if you've got a hip device in you, you're going to have cancer. If you've got a DePuy ASR, you're going to have cancer. Well, first of all, I explained about the misconceptions that arise out of Aaron Brockovich, because that was about a chromium case, but that was hexavalent chromium, which is a known carcinogenic. This is not hexavalent chromium. This is trivalent chromium. So try to ease their mind. There's no science at this point that there's going to be that there's any carcinogenic effect of the metallosis. So I try to make them feel a little better about that.